Did you practice your script? Do you feel like all you're doing is going through a motion and a routine, and the other person is just standing there like a bump on a log? Well, they most likely are. It's time to change up your game. Scripts are dead. Sales fluency is the winner. And let's talk about what that is and how you can make that work for you to make more sales. I'm Marla Koupal. I'm a sales skills expert. I've helped people make over 50 million in sales revenues and more. And I'm helping you, a direct seller, a network marketer, or a coach, make your business more successful because you really know how to sell without a script. Talk about the first thing in sales fluency is having unscripted conversations. This is the ability to let go of anything rigid, formalized, and you just get to be you. And are you afraid of you? I hope not. You've been living with yourself for a long time. So what you want to do is present in the moment naturally. So here's an example. So let's say you're selling a skincare product. Instead of starting to pitch your product or listen to their frustrations, don't ask them what they need, because they probably don't know if they're highly emotional. So go ahead and ask them, how would your skin feel? How would you feel? What you want to do is get into what is their dream. Don't ask them what their dream is. Ask them how they would feel. This is the first way that you can step into an unscripted sales conversation. When you can get them talking, you're going to learn so much about them that you're going to find the conversation really, really easy, just like that one you had with your friend the other day. So what happens when the conversation takes an unusual turn? Well, that's part two of being sales fluent, is to go ahead and have some adaptability for yourself. So what is adaptability? Well, it means you can shift gears. You can slow down if they're a slower thinker, a slower talker. They like to be very, very thoughtful before they share with you. They're not slow because they're slow. They're slow because they're thoughtful. Or you've got that fast talker, the one who makes decisions very, very quickly, and you're having a hard time keeping up with them. Well, one of the things that you want to do as a great salesperson and being very fluent is to adjust your pace, adjust your focus as they adjust. Now, this means you are going to have to practice with that and get comfortable with it. Don't always just pick those customers that are going to work with you. You get to be the person who works with them. So now that you're adaptable and you've been flexible with them, what about emotional intelligence? Intelligence is tuning into that buyer's emotion at the time. You need to hear the frustration, hear the hesitation, hear the quandary, whatever it is that brought them to you to have this conversation. That's your point of discovery for them, so that you learn more about them. So you might just say, what brought you to us today? When you're asking questions like this, you build trust. So here's an example. What if you're a coach and you're selling your services? Well, maybe you just say to them, what is it you expect of a coach? What are the measurable results you'd like to have at the end of a coaching time? Because if they can't express it clearly, no matter how much you give them, they're never going to understand the value that you brought them. So let them establish the criteria first so that you can speak to whether you're capable of that for them or there's somebody else you'd like to recommend. Sales fluency is not always making the sale for yourself, but it is serving the person that's in front of you. So now that you have an emotional intelligence in play in your conversation, the next thing is to ask them really good questions. There's confidence when you question. Your confidence and your buyer's confidence. Confidence is built with open-ended questions, really good open-ended questions. The ones that don't try to pinpoint where you want to go so that you know exactly which product you want to do, but the ones that help you understand if they have a problem, do they like to just talk about the problem or do they want to solve that problem? Are they in a situation where they really are clear on what their problem is? Many, many times people think they know what the problem is. And you know what? It's just the surface that they're thinking about. There's more involved. So those open-ended questions are going to get you into those conversations that you need in order to really find a solution that's going to work with them. So let's say you're selling healthcare supplements and they're telling you everything that they've tried before. Well, maybe all you want to do is ask, how would you like to feel if you were feeling healthy? Let's back it up a bit. Let's not talk about the supplements and why they worked, why they didn't work. What we really need to know is what's their vision of health. Only then can you really start. You can step into the problem-solving process, which is step 5. And this is where you align your product with the buyer. So you see, most of the mistakes people have when they're practicing a script, they're just talking about everything in general. But when you're selling with using your fluency, you're going to be able to set this person up with only those products or services that align with their desire. And stop saying pain. Pain is a marketing gimmick where they get your attention. But again, pain is relative to everyone. So let's talk about bringing solutions to whatever their challenge is, their concern is, maybe their problem is, but let's not talk about pain in this. So if you're in a problem-solving focus, make sure that you've heard enough from them in the first 4 steps that you can align your products with what their needs are. Let's say that you're an entrepreneur, solopreneur, and you need to save time. And you're going crazy trying to figure out how you're going to save time. You're feeling like you're never getting ahead, but you're getting further behind. So you most likely shouldn't ask a question called, what are you using for time management? You say, what would your day be like when you got rid of the tasks that you hate the most? Listen to the tasks that they hate the most. Figure out if you have a solution for those particular tasks. Let them celebrate what they like to do that is fun. Help them walk themselves through what organization would look like. So many people, myself included, have taken time management classes, and it's a so what, because if you still can't prioritize what's important to you, it's a nothing burger solution. So now that we've listened carefully, we've helped them make some choices and really describe to you what it is they're looking for. We're going to go to step 6, and that's active listening. Now, you've been doing it all along, but active listening is the 6th step of sales fluency. It's when you really hear what they say and you're able to acknowledge back what they said so that you and they are both very, very clear about the direction your conversation is taking. You're going to even reference the emotions that they might have brought up. You're going to say, you sounded really frustrated when we were talking about. Is that an area that you want to work with? And maybe those old situations that you're always practicing objections for, stop it. What you might do is if somebody says, well, I'm not too sure I can afford this. Let's talk about that. Let's ask them, well, what did you think an affordable solution might be for you? Because you know what? They may actually align with what you have. So don't get all defensive when they say, I may not be able to afford this. It may be very reasonable what you're offering, and they just don't have an awareness of what reasonable is. So again, stay sales fluent. No script is ever going to get you there. And lastly, you want to learn how to close without pressure. Closing is when the buyer feels they're really making the decision. They've got all the right information to make the decision, and they don't feel like they're being pushed into anything. You've actually done a great job helping them clarify all their yeses, all their nos, so that they really understand why they do choose what you have to offer. Times when they sound hesitant that you might say, well, remember you said this, you were talking about this, you gave me this example. And in those situations, they're back into the relationship with themselves and what it is that they want to get done. See, really, sales fluency is about facilitating a conversation where the buyer not only gets to share information, but begins to hear themselves. It's like you take the words out of their mind, you put them out here, and then they see them differently. It's a fascinating process, but if you really watch successful people, that is something that they do. Those with excellent sales fluency get this done every day. We've talked about the 7 steps. Unscripted conversations, the sales fluency, listening, the open-ended questions, the reframing, all of those examples that I gave you here in this video. So those are the 7 steps to selling fluency. And what I want you to do here is to subscribe to this channel so that you know the next time I go live. I want you to look at the links that I have in the description so that you'll know how we can connect and I can help you build your sales fluency. Now, it takes practice. It never hurts to get a little tune-up. So even if you've been in sales for a while, it might be time to take off the rust and get going again. Talk to you soon.